everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to talk to you about my art journey and how I got to where I am today with my artwork. I tend to get a lot of comments from people saying that they'll never be that good with their artwork or that they're terrible artists, but in truth we all started out with bad drawings or terrible drawings, even the professional artists that you see and admire. Most artists are self-taught, but you can take art classes for help or find somebody who will teach you. Some artists do offer live sessions that you can go and attend, and they'll help everybody how to do something. And there are also artists who do private sessions that are usually one-on-one, and they'll teach you things. However, you'd have to look into that because some artists do charge for that kind of service with them. Artwork is something that takes time and practice to develop, and many people tend to give up immediately with their artwork because they don't see improvements as quick as they'd like to see. However, it can take months and even years before you really see any improvements with your artwork, and this is all based on how much you practice and if you use any references when you're practicing. So let's talk about how I got to my stage of artwork. I've been drawing ever since I can remember. I started out referencing coloring books I got as a kid, many of which were animals because I loved animals, and I was heavily inspired by my grandpa's love for wolves, so you'll notice that a lot of stuff that I used to draw when I was younger was mostly wolves. I eventually moved away from referencing coloring books and just attempted to draw whatever I visualized in my mind, since I couldn't always carry references around with me. While visualization is good, it is always better to try to use references if possible so you can get the anatomy as close as possible to what you're trying to draw. Growing up, my family often bought me sketch pads, and we had a whole bin of colored pencils, but I found that I never really colored anything traditional. I was always just drawing with a normal gray pencil. I only ever really colored anything when I was in art classes. I never truly really enjoyed my art class experiences though, but this isn't the case for everyone. While I loved art and getting to experience different things in my art classes, I often found that art classes for me were restrictive in what I could do and generally took the fun out of art when they added a grade to it. I'm more of a freehand drawing artist, so adding in tools like grids, rulers, and other things often made my artwork to me look worse than my freehand art. By the time I hit high school back in 2013, I had left public school and moved to cyber school, and this is around the same time that I began to work more with my digital art. I found that I enjoyed digital artwork more because it didn't make a mess, and it was easier for me to work with than traditional. I drew with my mouse at the time and used a free program called GIMP for my artwork. I thought my artwork was the best thing ever, as silly as it seems. But then I realized once I started to post my work and I began watching other artists that I still had many things I needed to improve upon and work with. In 2014 or 2015, I obtained my first graphics drawing tablet for Christmas. The tablet I have currently is a small Wacom Intuos Creative Pen tablet. And I just couldn't wait for it to arrive, and I kept checking every day, and as soon as it came I just wanted to go pick it up and start drawing immediately. After I got my tablet, I think the toughest part for me was getting used to no longer looking down and drawing, but looking at the computer screen and drawing without looking down at the tablet. Now, there are tablets which do have the screen right on the tablet, so you don't have to look at the computer screen, but they're generally more expensive than the normal ones that don't have the screen, so they were out of our income range at the time, so I have the one I have now and have been using that ever since. Over time, I noticed that my artwork slowly began to improve after I got my tablet. Now, there are artists who can draw with the mouse and they can do it really well, but that all depends on you and how much you practice. My partner at the time often encouraged me with my artwork, and I'll be honest, there were times that I almost quit drawing because I thought I'd never be good enough or get any better or get anywhere with my artwork. But thankfully, I kept with it thanks to the encouragement I received from people who watched me, my partner at the time, and my family. I slowly began to expand what I drew, which also helped me to improve. I found that entering contests that other users held gave me new things to draw, and that furthered my artwork experience, teaching me what I did and didn't like to draw, and also what I needed to improve upon. In 2017, I began to work with painting my artwork instead of lining it and then coloring it. And if you plan to try painting, I'd recommend starting out with grayscaling the work before coloring it, rather than painting colors right away. This is how you can learn how to lay the shading and lighting in one shade rather than multiple different colors and pigments. During my time as an artist, there have been times where I've had no motivation to draw, and ended up going a month or so, or even longer, without drawing anything. And if you ever feel like you don't have the motivation or get stuck in art block, try finding something new that inspires you. Try something like a collaboration with a friend or somebody you don't know. Join a contest, or you can make an adopt or design and sell it. Do an art trade, or if you're comfortable, you can try doing requests to people. And that's basically my story as an artist up until this point. Even now, I'm still continuously trying to improve my artwork, and there are many things I still need to work and practice with. So if you're out there sitting there thinking that you're a bad or terrible artist, just remember that all those pro artists that you see were once in your shoes too. They only got to where they are today by practicing and drawing constantly. If you ever need help with your artwork, don't be afraid to reach out to other artists and ask how they do something, or look up tutorials. There are many artists who offer tutorials, or they do certain things and offer advice on how to do them. However, some of you may state that the artists that you do ask often ignore you. Unfortunately, there are artists who will ignore you. Most of the time, this is because you can potentially be competition for them, in my opinion. They probably feel that if they help you, you'll end up stealing their commissioners away in the future. Some artists may also not answer if they get a lot of comments, emails, or notes, as they may feel that it's impossible to answer all of you and choose to only answer a couple or only business-related things. There are also artists who only choose to speak to those of the same art level as them. This is probably because they think it's beneficial to them to only speak to those people. However, don't let any of that stop you from asking questions if you need the help to improve your artwork. If the artist you ask doesn't answer, there are also many more artists that you can ask too. I hope that this video is inspirational to you and that you continue to practice your art and get to be as good as you hope to someday. And if you're not an artist, I hope you continue to support the people who are and encourage them to do well with their artwork while they take their own journey through improvement with their artwork. If you have your own art experience or story and you'd like to share it, just put it down in the comments below. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you all in another video. Bye bye!